Today we're going to look at these syndicate cards for Claw and Dagger, starting off with Oxenford Guard. He's a 5 provision, 4 power, 2 armor human, and he has Fee 2, boost adjacent units by 1. If that reduced your coins to 0, boost them by 2 instead. Cooldown 1. So as a fee spender, he has a couple of advantages. The first one is that he's got 4 power and 2 armor, so it's out of a lot of easy removal range. There are 6 damage removals, but usually you don't want to spend them on something like this. If it was within 5 damage range, he'd be a little bit weaker, especially if it was 4, but that 2 armor really helps protect him, which is something to know. He will have a little bit easier time sticking around than something else. And on face value, it's just a 2 for 2 fee, if there's something on each side of him. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. But sometimes you might have to play him with one thing next to him, but you don't have to pay his fee, right? You can wait a turn until you've got something else next to him. So it's not too bad. But he does have that cooldown, so if you're really counting on him as your only spender, you might be forced to play it suboptimally. But I think there'll be other ways to find your coins to find value. You don't have to pay the fee if you don't want to. I don't think the cooldown's going to be too big of a hindrance on him, really. Now, assuming you do reduce your coins to 0, then, he's getting 4 for 2 on the coin spend, which is very, very good. Things like Tunnel Drill and Octavia Hail are 3 for 2. Those are both conditional. Tunnel Drill is damage, but still. And then Candle is slightly better than 1 for 1. It's much better than 1 for 1 early on, but as you spend more and more, it gets closer to 1 for 1. So, comparing them to like those standard ones, not standard, but like ones you see, and you get 3 for 2 on the Sea Jackal, right, when he's got the Horde. So this isn't bad. If you get the 4 for 2 spend, it's amazing. The only thing that's better that I can think of is Little Bird if you get all the gangs out. So as a spender, it seems very strong if you reduce the coins to 0. That shouldn't be too difficult because you'll have other fee cards. You can have tribute cards. There's other ways to spend your coins. And you can always use like a Lined Pockets leader or something to get a coin or 2, or off the books if you need them. So I think this will be pretty useful. The only thing is, I'm not sure how well it fits in the Lined Pockets type deck with a lot of crimes, because you might not have that many units. But if you summon like Cleaver, maybe you can make that work. But in a lot of decks, I think he'll just be a pretty decent spender option. The fact he doesn't have a gang card means you can't get him off of Sigi. So it's a little unfortunate for that deck. But it makes sense, right? He's an Oxenford Guard. This isn't bad. This is an interesting one. I think I'll see play in like some decks just for the value on that fee. And we'll have to see if the other cards interact with the reduced coins to 0 effect. So I'm guessing they will. They usually put all the cards out together with some kind of synergy. I guess that's where we're going with this time. But let's go take a look and see what the next one is. Open Sesame. It's a 5 provision crime. Okay. With profit 5. While in your graveyard, whenever you reach 0 coins, so yeah, they're going with that, this expansion looks like. When you reach 0 coins, remove a counter. When the counter reaches 0, gain 4 coins. Oh, that is interesting. So we're getting a total of 9 coins if you trigger this for 5. That is really good. That is very good. Something like Eavesdrop gives you 5 coins and then the draw. And sometimes you see people play Eavesdrop. So, usually as a one-of. That does see play. Other things that just get you coins, we have Pickpocket gives you, 8 for 6 provisions? They may have buffed it to 5. I think they buffed the coins to 8 instead of the provisions. So I think that's an 8 for 6. This might be just the best value profit card in the game. But you do have to wait those 6 turns. Oh, you don't have to wait 6 turns. It says whenever you reach 0 coins. Okay. That makes this much better. So theoretically, say we're playing Lined Pockets, right? We're playing Lined Pockets. We have some spender on the board. What's a 1 fee spender? I'll just say we have Bloody Good Friends, just as an example. We've got like a coin or 2, right? You can spend down to 0, use the Lined Pockets leader charge, get 1 coin back, spend that, and that'll refresh the counter here. So you can potentially spend a lot of coins that way, especially with Lined Pockets. Or off the books too gives you 4 charges of 2 coins if you're a 2 coin spender. So you could potentially trigger this pretty fast if you want to. It also has delayed profit. So that is something you can play around with. Anything with delayed profit immediately makes me think of some kind of synergy with A Search for Forgotten Treasure. because the delayed profit can trigger the Gudrun. But I'm not seeing... That actually could work here. Except she has a horde on hers, I believe. That's interesting. We'll see if there's something we can do there. But this looks like it has a lot of potential. And in some decks, you just want the coins, right? So, for example, not so much in Bounty. Because in Bounty, usually you kill something early with the leader charge and get coins that way. But there are decks that you're going to want coins in. Something like... I know it doesn't spawn units. This card doesn't spawn units, but something like Firesworn can really struggle with the coins sometimes. Maybe something like this helps you out quite a bit there because you actually get the coins. It's a very interesting card. I'm sure this will see play at some time just because of the value on the coins. And having a delayed profit carryover is really good. Just having 4 coins you can trigger in round 3 after you played this round 2 is really strong. So I think this will definitely see some play. We'll be trying this out. It's very interesting. Next up we have the Epic. Evelyn Gallow, 7 provisions, 5 power elf. At the end of your turn, if you have 0 coins, gain 3 coins. Oh, this is a value card if I've ever seen one. So if we're looking at this from a raw value ceiling, right? Theoretically, you can play this turn 1 of whatever round you're in. You won't have any coins, and you'll get 3. If you spend those 3 coins every turn, you can't spend the coins the last turn of the round because you've passed. You could potentially use 27 coins off of this. That is an incredibly high ceiling. It's actually, I think, better than Bart, potentially, because in Bart you can go 1, then you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what? I believe that's 21 coins. This is 27. So that's quite good. And it should not be too hard to spend your coins down to 0. This card seems incredibly strong. This seems like a card you just have to kill. And it also has really good synergy with the Conjurer's Candle, because you can spend the coins with the candle to keep this alive if you want to. The candle can be kind of awkward with how many coins you have, but with other cards out, other fees, this seems very, very good. Now, obviously, you have removal to answer this. I just think this becomes a card you have to remove, or else there's just too much value. Is there anything else like this? It's kind of like... I guess we can compare it to Imki, right? Imki is the ranged one that gives you 2 coins a turn unconditionally. But that's 9 provisions. It's still 5 power. It can shield itself, or she can, but it's an expensive shield. This is very interesting. This is better because it's not range locked. And it gives you another coin. That's very interesting. I think this card is really good. I think this might just see play in a lot of Syndicate decks. Just looking at this from a raw value perspective, if I could get 3 coins a turn just by using my fees for free, I would. So, like, the only thing I don't see this being played in, potentially, is Horde decks, right? Because you need the Horde, and then you're not going to have 0 coins. So none of these decks really affect the Horde decks. None of these cards, I mean. And the only other one is probably Collusion, because you don't have a gang tag on this. And... after they remove the Blind Eyes tag from Shady Vendor, you're kind of short on gang tags there. But maybe you fit this in here. It just gives you so many coins. Yeah, this seems really good. Keeping it alive is obviously the problem, especially with stuff like Enslaved Tactics being probably the most popular deck right now. But still, if you have Candle, you can get this some pretty good value. And also combos really well with the first card we saw, the Oxenford guy, right? Because you can spend those coins to boost her up. If it goes down to 0 coins, you'll be triggering the +2 on that boost, and you'll be triggering this to get you 3 coins again. It just seems very, very good. Quite excited to see this. I'm sure there's some ceilings with this, where if you just can't answer it, you're going to feel really frustrated because they get so many coins. But then again, you can always just remove it. But they're probably going to boost it, so it might be harder than it looks like. But Syndicate really only has the 1 Purify, and they play Devotion quite a bit, so Locks might be the go-to for this one. We'll have to see. I think this will definitely see play, though. Last of all, then, we have the Casimir Bazzi. So he is an 11 provision, 6 power. Dwarf Crown Splitter. Okay, so we got a Crown Splitter Dwarf. What does he do? He's got Veil, so 6 power gold engine looks like with Veil's good. Like, you want the Veil. But 6 isn't quite enough power for a gold engine, but we've got this deploy. What's it do? Spend all your coins, then boost self by the number of coins spent. Okay, so we can keep them alive. Then once per turn, when the coins reach 0, we spawn explosives. Alright, so we've got 4 coins. We play this guy. He spends them at 1 for 1, which is okay. It's not amazing. But he goes to 10 power Veil Engine. Because that turn is guaranteed to spawn us the 0, or get us to the 0 coins. It is once per turn on this, so you can't go like I was saying earlier for Open Sesame, I think it was. That one didn't have a once per turn on it, if I recall. Yeah, whenever you reach 0 coins, remove a counter. This has a once per turn, so you can't just go 1 lined pockets charge fee, 1 lined pockets charge fee, and get like 6 bombs in one, or explosives in one row, or in one turn. So that does limit it a little bit. This is going to be kind of slow. It's going to be really slow, actually. We have to check on the bombs also. I keep calling them bombs, the explosives. So the explosives are a doomed token, artifact. Oh, artifact's interesting. We'll get back to that. So doomed, fee 2, damage an enemy unit by 2, then destroy self. That's not very good. At the end of your turn, reduce the fee cost by 1. Okay, now we're talking. If the fee cost was 0, destroy self instead. Okay, so we play this, or we use Casimir to get this. We get this. It has fee 2, deal 2 damage. And then destroy self. That's okay. It can be useful. You can certainly use that if you need the extra 2 damage. Like if you're running a Dip in the Pontar or something, this could be useful. A Hysteria. This with Hysteria might be quite interesting because you can trigger bounties. This might be really helpful for bounty decks, but there's a lot of expensive bounty cards, so maybe not. But then at the end of your turn, so you play this, it has the fee 2. At the end of your turn, it reduces the fee cost by 1. Next turn, you can trigger this for fee 1, deal 2 damage. It's your turn again. The fee cost goes from 1 to 0. The next turn, you can cast it for 0. So it's a free 2 damage. But if you wait longer than that, if the fee cost is already 0, this is going to destroy itself. So you play this. In 2 turns, you can use this for full value where it's free 2 damage. That is very slow. It is very slow. But fee do damage, as anyone who plays, who used to play Tunnel Drill, or if you play Freak Show, fee do damage is really good. Like, it can be situationally very strong. And if you play Bounty, you know that the extra couple damage, sometimes you just need 2 damage, because everything's a 5, and you hit with Hysteria, you want to kill it, or you hit it with, what's the other one, Purge, and you want to hit it with this too, or you hit it with this, then Purge. This is very interesting. Let's go back to the actual guy, and let's look what we're talking about. Look at what we're talking about. So Casimir, we play him, he spends our coins, that's fine. We're going to spend those coins anyway, I don't really give him value for that necessarily. He spends them at 1 for 1. Anything can spend it 1 for 1 pretty much. But it does make him really tall. How long until we get good value from the explosives? If we get 5 explosives, that's what, 10 damage? If we get 5 explosives for free, that's 10 damage, right? Then we'll have 1 at 1, which we'll definitely be spending because that's efficient, a 1 for 2 damage. So at that point, we're getting 12 damage, 1 coin spent, plus his 6 base power. That'd be 18 for 11 plus his coin. That's nice. That's not bad value. So I think we definitely want to be casting at least 5 bombs with him. I keep calling them bombs. I'm sorry. We want to cast at least 5 explosives. Which means we need to play him and then 1 turn, like 6 turns. That's not bad. Like a 6-card round isn't unreasonable to have. A 10-card round will be cast. Well, we play him, goes down to 1, goes to 0. So in a 10-card round, we potentially cast for free 8 bombs, right? And then we get a 1 cost and a 2 cost. Oh, no, we don't get the 2 cost. Yeah, the 2 cost would be the last turn of going down to 0. We could cast it. Yes, we could have 8 zeros, a 1, and a 2. If we play him first, reduce our coins to 0 every turn. That is a lot of value. This is clearly a value card. If it's really slow, but the value is kind of there. The thing is, the only thing that holds me back from this is Nithrol. So Nithrol is the monster's guy, right? Melee, deal 1 damage, dominance, deal 2 damage. Nithrol with Crystal Skull is kind of similar, right? It's going to be an 8. It's going to do 2 damage each turn. It is row locked, which makes it worse. A little bit worse. But if you've ever played Nithrol, or like see Monsters players play Nithrol, they don't actually play them anymore, even in Keltalis it looks like. Or at least it seems like in my games. So, 2 damage per turn. That is slightly better than this, because you don't have to wait. You just get it every turn. Although, you can always cast a 0 bomb and a 1 bomb to deal 4 damage. And actually, you can also cast a 2-cost bomb if you need to. I'm saying costs, but you know what I mean, it's the coins. That's interesting. If he's been alive for 2 turns, you're always going to have 6 damage on board. That is so much more value than I think. That's really where I think his value's going to come from. You're just always going to have answers to every engine if it's been a couple turns, right? That is interesting. I think this might be secretly really good. But situationally against engine decks. Just imagine, for example, you're playing a Saskia, like your opponent plays Saskia Commander round 1, and you want to contest by dropping this. You can kill pretty much every engine they have with cards in your hand. Like, say you have a couple damage crimes in your hand, or like a freak show, and you're reducing your coins to 0. This could actually just help you kill all the engines off. I think that might be the secret here. It's just you. If he's been alive a couple turns, you're always going to have 6 damage on board. That's really useful. If you're going to use that 6 damage, you're going to pay 2 coins for one, 1 coin for another, then 0 for the last one. So that's not ideal, but 6 damage for 3 coins, if you want to think about it that way, that's not bad either. Like, just this with a crime in your hand pretty much kills everything in the game. That's not like a 15 power unit. That's interesting. I think this is going to be quite a experimental card. I think this is really cool. It's very cool. I think it might actually be good against engine decks in particular. It's going to get removed quite a bit, which is a little annoying, especially if I don't think you're going to want to spend like 9 coins on this guy to make him a 15. He's going to get answered and you won't get your value. So how many coins you want to spend on his deploy is going to be interesting to balance. But you always have Conjurer's Candle and stuff, and the Oxenford Guard to help out with it. Spending most of this video talking about this guy because he's the most interesting. I'm just thinking of a situation where me having 6 damage on board for 3 coins would make me feel bad. Even if I played him for, like, we need to get the value out of him, right? Eventually, but I think that's worth it. We're going to be testing this guy out for sure. I'm not sure. The only thing is I'm not sure what deck he quite fits in. But the value's there. The value's there. The reach is there for your damage cards, which is quite interesting. And I'm really excited to try this guy out. Before we leave, though, there's one thing I want to mention here is that these are tokens and they're artifacts, right? So do we finally have a way to use Line of Credit? Because Line of Credit's so bad right now. It's kind of awful right now. But yeah, if you destroy this for plus, I think it's plus 7 coins, that's okay. You're losing out on the 2 damage. But maybe you're not going to use that bomb. It's worth it to you that way. But then you have to spend the coins to get the other one, the other explosive. So I'm not sure. But you could use Line of Credit here if you want. I'm just not sure it'll still see play. But Casimir is so interesting. We're definitely trying him out. I have a couple ideas for this. And I think, I don't think he's a straight up value card. Like, there are cards that are just straight up value cards. But I think the real power of this guy is going to come from having access to instant removal for stuff. Your opponent really has to kill him, I think, if they're playing any kind of engines. If they're playing any kind of engines, you have this guy, you immediately get the first explosive. If they don't, like, even the next turn, you've got 2 damage on top of your other removal cards. So I think something with, like, Hysteria, something like Dip in the Pongtar, or some type of crime control deck, be really glad to have this guy in it. And I can't wait to try it out myself. I think that it's going to be very fun to play with. Anyway, guys, we've talked about the Syndicate cards, especially Casimir the most, quite a bit already. So let me know what you think. Which ones are you the most excited for? Personally, I really can't wait to try out Casimir. I think the guard's going to be pretty useful. I think Open Sesame has a lot of value too. And Evelyn, another really good value card. So I'm curious to see how these play out. Another thing to note here, one more card that really gets a lot of help from these guys is going to be Bloody Good Friends, right? Or not Bloody Good Friends, Bloody Good Fun, I think. The crime that spends all your coins. It puts you down to 0, and you can access a lot of damage that way, too. So, a lot of interesting synergies here. We're definitely going to be trying to make these guys work, but until then, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. That'll be it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. And you can check out some more videos over here. And thanks for watching.